Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
With Lululemon, the real gift happens when they're living in it. When you give them the coziest scuba matching set, the real gift is this. And this. And this. This holiday, Lululemon makes it easy to give a gift that goes beyond. Open the moment. Shop now at Lululemon.com.
Rated T to M. Hey, want to hear a PC Game Pass ad? I'll take your silence as a yes. Want new games on day one like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 or Stalker 2? I thought so. How about unlocking all the League of Legends champions when you link your Riot Games account? All for one low monthly price? Well, guess what? We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass or click the banner. Stalker 2 available November 20th, 2024. Game catalog varies by region and over time. And that's the end of the script.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear listener, and welcome to this preview show of the Dockers Debate with me, Michael, and him, Robert. Say hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob. Watcher.
Watcher.
Watcher indeed. So for this show, we're just going to do a quick preview of this weekend's game with Ramsgate, and hopefully it's out on time, as they say. But yeah, it's a big game this weekend at the home of the Rams. I believe they're top of the table, or
they are currently top of the pops.
Round.
Yep, they are.
Yeah, top of the pops. One of the favourites for promotion, and also in this show you'll hear a recording that we did with Ramsgate fan Darius, which actually went very well. So, Rob, firstly, how are we today?
Oh, I'm fine. You know, it's Friday. I like Friday. Get to
instantly timestamp the show. Well done.
Yeah. So yeah. But looking forward to seeing the Dockers tomorrow. It is cold, but the sun is shining. You know, it's one of those crisp winter mornings.
Crisp is a great word to describe a really crap morning that you don't want to get up for.
Yeah, but you know, hey, here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. It always reminds me of. Do you remember 8 out of 10 that Cats Does Countdown?
I do.
When they created a word, but it actually sounded really convincing. It was like they said, "I've got Fasoon, THUZOON," and there was like describe it. He's gone. It's like the dew that hangs under the palm trees of some exotic country, and they go beautiful Fasoon this morning. So every time now I see a little bit of frost or something, or that sort of crispy grass, it's beautiful Fasoon this morning, and people look at me a little bit more weird than they normally do anyway.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, what made up word do you like, dear listener, that you like to put in everyday conversation? As usual, please email info@erithtown.com.
And we love to get your emails.
We do love to get your emails. Honestly, there's nothing better than at the moment than we like to do than sit there and get made up words sent to us. And I'll tell you what you do. Email us your weird words, and we'll try and what context that they are, and we'll try and get them into a show. How does that sound?
Go for it.
There's not much excitement there, Robert.
It's what do you expect? It's early for me.
Yeah, it's early and there's bazoons everywhere. All right, no, so back to the game. So let's be frank, how can we see this one going?
Well, I think it's going to be tough. I mean, make no mistake, they are top of the pots for a reason. So it's going to be a tough game. But then again, you've got to look at it and go, we've got every chance of getting something out of it. I mean, we play well. We're still seventh in the table. You know, we're doing well. But it is going to be a tough game, really tough game. And they've got some good players. Their main striker, Joe Taylor, is on 26 goals for the season already, which is absolutely ridiculous. The man is a machine, and he's travelled. He's well travelled, although he has spent time. He has spent plenty of time with them. I think he's going to be celebrating his 200th game tomorrow.
Yeah.
and while he has spent a long time with them, he's actually been, at higher levels and levels above, and then come back down again, and so on and so forth. But everywhere he's gone, he has scored hatfuls of goals. So he's definitely the danger man.
Yeah.
But that said, he is their biggest danger man, because everyone else, while he's on 26, the next highest scorers are on like 7. So they've got like a.
It's like when you play FIFA and you keep
Yeah.
pressing the through ball to the same player.
Yeah.
And then he pulls his hamstring and he's out for 9 months. And then you've got to realise, oh dear. But no, I get the point. And the thing is as well, is like you say that the others have only scored like 7 or 8, which is true. And you can kind of say, some would argue
7, and the rest
2
of them
have
have
scored
scored
7.
like 1.
Or you could argue. But then again, as silly as it sounds, they're still kind of chipping in, and you only need 1 goal to win a game.
Yep.
So, I'll hold my hands up. I haven't seen that much of Ramsgate or know too much about him. But if he's the danger man and it is basically keep giving him the service, these other forwards could be like sort of your number 10s, if you will, and can still bag in a goal or 2 themselves, but their main job isn't to be the out-and-out striker. I don't know. But, it's going to be a tough
between them, they're
ask.
doing something right, because they've played 16 and won 15 and drawn 1. They haven't lost a game yet. So
no pressure, Woody.
Yeah, and they are the only team who hasn't lost a game yet. In the league.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
and
even like the Beckenham and Sittingbourne, like the ones that are close to them, are not at that level. So
no, and that's the thing for me with Beckenham. Obviously they stayed up last season with the reprieve, and I think that could be why they was a little bit like a surprise package this year. But they for me were a team. Beckenham at one point they looked like the team to beat. They looked like the ones, especially when they came down to Stanmore. I think I'm not sure if we went a goal or 2 up, but we played quite well against them, but they still managed to get the win, didn't they?
They did, and they scraped. But to be fair, they scraped it by 1 goal. But when you look at the table, like Beckenham have played 3 games more than Ramsgate, and they're 5 points behind. So Ramsgate have got 3 games in hand over second place Beckenham, and it's
without trying to get too carried away. They're kind of like champions elite already, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They are the champions elect, I think. They are going to be the team to beat. So I think, whilst it's going to be a really, really tough game, and I'll be very honest, I don't hold out a great deal of hope of us getting a win. I think we can probably dog a draw, and that would be great. But I think the other thing is it's going to be a real indicator of where we are as a team compared to like the best of the best in this particular league.
Yeah, and the thing is that we were saying behind the scenes. See, we're letting you into the intel, dear listener. But behind the scenes a little while ago, that obviously the aim is to stay up. The aim is to be to consolidate our position, and unofficially, other people have heard the pod, especially Grinstead away. Everyone talks about that magic 40 points, a bit like the Premier League, a bit like massive 40 points. We're only 3 wins and a draw away. Yep. And we've only played a quarter of the games. And the thing is as well, it's like we're just outside the top 6. And again, you don't want to rest on your laurels and say, well, that's it now, we're done. And do you know what? This might come back and bite me right in the backside. I don't mind. But I don't know about you, Rob. There's that little bit of a sniff of, and I know I've said it before, but that season where Leicester won the Premier League and everyone was like, I wonder how long they can stay up here for.
Don't remind me.
And that's what, and I was a Liverpool fan, yeah. But, like with that season, everyone was, weren't they? I wonder how long they can start for. I wonder how long they can maintain this pressure. And I'm a bit like that with Erith Town, because we go into games, even against the likes of Sheffield when we played them at home, and East Grinstead away. And let's be frank, every game for a club like Erith Town, every game is tough this season. And that's no disrespect to the teams in Skeff or anything like that, but every game this season you're going in and thinking, do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the opposition nick a win here or there. Not that we don't have any faith in Woody or the team or anything like that, but it's just they're good sides, and you sort of think, is this where our purple patch pops, if you will?
We've said it before, like, at this level, it seems that it doesn't matter how long the game goes on for, or what the score is. The teams are never quite out of it.
Exactly that. Exactly.
Unless you're 5-0 up or something, and on the 89th minute, no team is ever really quite out of it. And any team can just come up and nick a goal from anyone. I mean, we found that out when we went to where was it? Was it Eastbourne we went to? And
Yeah, exactly. Eastbourne the 2-1. Yeah.
yeah, and they nicked it like literally in the dying seconds of the game. Just with just tiny little moment of switching off, and it cost us the point. So,
Or Margate at home as well.
yeah. So um, but I think if you look at the table now, Burgess Hill Town are in fifth, so they've just squeaked into the playoff places. But and we're on
Shout out to Burgess Hill quickly. Shout out to Burgess Hill. Their under 18s made it through to the first qualifying round of the FA Cup and beat Colchester on penalties. So shout out to them. That's a massive result.
Yeah, massive. But
the stuff the first team.
They're only 3 points away from us. So if they lose tomorrow and we win, we swap places with them. We suddenly jump up into the playoffs. So, it's tight up there. Obviously there's a couple of teams who seem to be streaking ahead, but obviously tomorrow's opponents being one of them. But the rest of it's really quite tight, and positions can change quite a lot over the period of just a single weekend. So,
I think as well. I'll be honest with you, I can't hear that squeaky trapdoor of relegation. I think we're so far clear of that, not in an arrogant way, because trust me, at Erith Town, if there's one thing everyone is humble, isn't it, Rob? And I don't think anyone's looking. We want the points, we want the 40 points, don't get me wrong. And that is the main priority. But I think at the moment it's been such a good start. We're not focusing on relegation. We're focusing on looking forward and what we can do as not just the first team, but which I think Woody and Grads, all Wayne, they've all done a fantastic job, Simon. But I think Russell as well. But I think it's a case of what we can build as a club over the next couple of seasons if we can keep going the way we are.
Exactly. Anyway, on that point, let's now cut over to our conversation with Darius, who's the Ramsgate fan that we were talking about earlier. And we'll find out what the opposition view is and how he thinks things are going. So let's speak to Darius.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear listener, and welcome to our first ever preview show. Now, for those who really don't like listening to me normally after in-game analysis and interviews, there's even more podcasts, things to not enjoy when you hear my voice. But for this week, we are doing a special, Rob's laughing already, but we are doing a special where we will be previewing this weekend's game with table topping, I believe they're still top at the moment, Ramsgate FC. And we have a fan from Ramsgate FC. We have Darius. How are we, Darius?
All good, thank you, Michael. All good. Thanks for having me on.
That's fine, no problem at all. Live in the mini metro, I see.
Well, currently sat in my car in the car park outside the club. So I thought I'd come up here a little bit early to record the podcast with you before I head in and see the guys.
Is that just an excuse and really you're sleeping in it?
Well, let's keep it between us, eh?
Absolutely. Who are you seeing tonight then, if you don't mind me asking, or is that with a hush-hush?
No, it's no hush-hush. The first team is training up here tonight, probably be light session in preparation for Saturday, and just see the guys up here. I usually come up here every Thursday. There's a few of us, including the chairman and club secretary, and a few of others come up here for a Thursday meeting, which usually involves a pint, and then just have a general chat about things and then head home.
Yeah, name dropping, Darius, like it.
Excellent.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
All right. So I was going to ask, so Darius, like you're currently top of the league. Was that the expectation at the start of the season, or has it come as something of a surprise? And what's it down to, do you think?
Well, it wasn't, then it was. Then it wasn't, then it was, because I don't know how much you guys know about our summer. We had a very turbulent summer period. So our manager from last season...
I know that Ben Smith, because he's the manager, I know he had a strange year because he left in June, then he came back a month later, but as only as interim, but because he's doing a sterling job, he's still there. So I don't know what the story is with that. It'd be nice to get a little bit of
Well, the story is essentially that... Ben and our chairman, James, they had a chat about a month or so after the end of last season. Ben really still wasn't over what happened last season because we were second in the league, 89 points. Usually it'd be enough to win the league, but went into the playoffs and we got done by a sucker punch 1-0 at home to Chichester City in the playoff semi, and that was that. About a month or so later, it hit Ben hard. He wasn't really over it at that point, and Ben and James decided mutually that it would be best to just sort of part ways at that point. Then Tony Russell, formerly of Cray Wanderers and Lewis, came in and took the job, and he lasted all of, I think, about 25 days before.
There was some sort
Let's just say he decided it wasn't for him. Shall we say?
I heard there was some sort of disagreement over terms of contracts or how that was supposed to. He thought something was in place. The chairman thought something else was in place. It didn't quite balance out.
Marry up.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't really want to go into it too much, but it was an interesting situation, and I think, put it this way, I think it's worked out best for all parties.
Yes, fair enough.
To this point,
You can tell us off recording, Darius. Tell us off recording, and then we can unveil it as a Patreon. Darius said.
I've got to cover myself, haven't I?
Yeah,
absolutely. Covering yourself well in the club car park with the recognisable motor.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
So with Ben Smith coming back in, was the expectation high that you'd have another full-on crack at it and you'd end up top of the table again?
Well, really, Ben very kindly offered to come back in the short term because he wasn't sure if he fancied another full-time crack at it. It was really just to help us get back on our feet because we had about 4 or 5 players at that point. And, this is end of June, beginning of July period, just as pre-season is starting. So to only have that few players, we played our first few pre-season games with kids. But, it just shows the work that everyone's done in the background. Ben, Chairman James Lawson, Director of Football Seb Tidy, they managed to put together a very strong-looking squad in the space of really no time at all. And they did a fantastic job. In terms of what our expectations were, looking at the squad before the start of the season, we thought we'd be up there by the end. We thought there may be a little bit of teething to begin with, but we've just hit the ground running. It started with a 1-0 away win at AFC Croydon, and that came from a 96th minute goal. And that goal sort of gave the whole of the club on the first team side such a massive lift. Obviously there's all sorts going on off the pitch with us, with our youth setup and all the community schemes. But after everything from the Chichester game and through the summer, to get that lift from that last minute winner against Croydon, it was amazing for us. And we've just sort of kicked on since then, really.
Yeah, you just saying there. Sorry, Darius, just to follow what you're saying there. Obviously for Erith Town, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Our aspirations are just to stay up, that in this division. We're doing really well so far. Woody's doing a great job. The team doing really well, and there's that real togetherness. As I say, what was it like? How with the team morale? You say it's you just missed out the final hurdle, and Erith Town a couple of years ago, they've missed out on some bits and pieces here and there as well. But how did they manage to keep it, without trying to go into too much detail with behind-the-scene conversations, but how did they manage to keep it all together? Because we all know how non-league football works. You have a spell where you just missed out. Suddenly, there's a bit of an exodus of players, and you've got to do a massive rebuild, even though you are one of the big hitters who've done pretty well.
Well, luckily for us, we've got a good core of local players in our team, which helps. We've got that. We try and build locally, and obviously through our youth setups, we try and do that to keep a bit of continuity. And we've got loads of promising youngsters that are coming through now that I'm sure will be first team players in the future. But it's really, a lot of it goes down to the work behind the scenes that James and Seb, and obviously Ben, since he come back in, all those guys are doing. And it's just a testament to the job they've done that despite everything, it was still very much, okay, let's not panic. We've still got time here. We can still do bits, and luckily for us, we're still going strong now.
Okay, so your danger men seem to be Joe Taylor. He's on 26 goals already.
26 goals.
Yeah. Then you got Tijan.
Season's only about 5 games old, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you got Alfie Paxman and, as I say, Tijan Jadama. They're both on 7. First of all, any chance they were all injured on Saturday? But seriously, though, I mean, it does seem to make you very reliant on the one man, and he is 33. So does that worry you at all? Or do you think the others do have the ability to step up if anything happened?
One thing I will say about JT, he's a phenomenon for this level. I mean, he scored 70 goals in 90 games for Lewis the 2 seasons before he joined us, and then he's come to us, and he's an absolute machine. It's actually his 200th appearance for the club coming up on Saturday, so we're sort of marking that with a couple of bits and pieces on the socials, and
hopefully
get a little something on the picture for the game. Goal. I think. Sorry.
Hopefully marks that with an own goal.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Joe, he'll probably be annoyed if he doesn't score at least one on Saturday. He's just, the relentlessness of him is just unbelievable. And, you know, he scored 26 in 25 this season. He scored 53 and 50 last season.
It's mad.
Yeah. I mean, I get why people sort of would say we're a one-man team, but
I'm not saying you're a one-man team. I'm just like, you know, when the bulk of your goals are coming from, we know from our own experience, if the bulk of your goals are coming from one person and that one person's suddenly not available, suddenly it all dries up. Like, where do the goals come from? Because the other two, Tijan and Alfie, are both on 7, and that's a long way behind. You know, that's a quarter of the goals. So that's why I asked the question. I don't think
No, I get that. I fully get that. It's more a sense of, another thing about JT is his durability. I mean, I don't want to put the kiss of death on him, obviously, but
I'll go ahead.
Yeah. If we haven't got him, but no, he's stuffed, even in defence.
But no, back to Joe. I mean, his durability it's pretty extraordinary, and obviously, from our point of view, we hope that continues, and we hope that I haven't just put some almighty kiss of death on him. But there are other sources of goals in the team as well. Tijan Jadama. He's an absolute machine in the middle of the park and really pulls the strings for us at times in there. Obviously, Alfie Paxton playing from the left wing, he chips in with his odd fair few goals, and his link-up play with Joe Taylor is very important to us as well. We've got another young, speedy right winger called Benny Bialetti, who is starting to chip in with goals too. And I'd like to think we're more than just a team about Joe, but obviously Joe will grab the headlines because of the amount of goals he scores.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the other two, TJ spoke about, Alfie. I mean, they're both good ages as well. They're both sort of mid-20s ish. So, they've got a lot of years left in them, as it were. And they're probably still learning their trade, truth be told.
Yeah, I mean, well, TJ's been a bit of a sort of a late bloomer because he started his career with us. He's a local lad, then went to Whitstable Town and then rejoined us sort of post-COVID. And since then, he's just been on an upward trajectory with his play. And the last 2 seasons preceding this one, and then now, he's just been. His game keeps elevating. Grabbed the headlines last season for scoring goal of the round in the first round proper of the FA Cup when we beat Woking at home. And he's just an all-action attacking midfielder who he gets box to box. He's everywhere, and he doesn't mind a challenge or two as well.
That sounds good.
Oh, absolutely. Just look into this this weekend's game, Darius. I mean, we're talking about a couple of danger men, how you're getting on this season, all that kind of stuff. Again, in the nicest way, like we, Erith Town, kind of pride ourselves a little bit, as Rob will tell you, on being that underdog, on being that one who'll come up and bloody your nose a little bit, like with our run last season, in the Skeffel Cup and the senior trophy and everything like this. It was really built on hard work, not taking the club for granted, if you will, but we didn't have the flair name of like Faversham or people were thinking, they'll do well, like, or Corinthian or sneaking or Glebe, that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that obviously we weren't as good as them because we got promoted, and through our own merit, I certainly think we was, arguably one of the best teams in the division, even though we finished where we were. But what is Ramsgate's knowledge of Erith or the club, or from your point of view? I mean, is it one of those things you're looking at thinking, well, like they're doing all right, but we should beat them? Or actually, do you know what? They're just outside those playoff places. They might sneak in.
Well, I mean, we've been looking on with interest, certainly, because I won't lie, it's not a name I was expecting to be up where you guys are this season, but I think it's a testament to how well you've adapted to this league. And, you've got a good thing going on. Your last sort of month, 6 weeks or so has been fantastic. I think I'm correct in saying you're unbeaten since you lost at home to Margate, our local rivals. So you're on a great run of form, and you're up there on merit.
Which in the nicest way. Again, I'm not saying this with Erith Town tinted glasses on, because me and Rob have said in the past when we've not played particularly well. But I think if you look at that Margate result, yes, we might have lost it, but it's arguably one of the most so what's the way of putting it? A result that doesn't sum up the performance, because in the first half it was all Erith Town.
Yeah, we absolutely battered them for 65, 70 minutes, and then it fell away. It fell away at the wrong times, but that's the way to go.
But again, sorry, Darius, I cut you off there. Going back to it, how are the club? Without trying to go into too much intricate detail, of keep giving Taylor the ball and let him score. How are the club preparing for this game?
Well, I mean, obviously it's a special occasion for us on Saturday with Joe Taylor's 200th game for the club, but we're seeing it as a very tough game against. I mean, you got to say you guys are a bit of a surprise package so far, but I think it's a testament to how well you've done, and we're all really looking forward to it. Off the back of it's rare you get 2 home games in consecutive Saturdays, but we've got that this weekend, and hopefully we should have some nicer weather than we had last weekend, which was a bit of a. We almost got blown away in Storm Burt, but no, we're looking forward to it. And no, we think it's going to be a tough game for sure. I mean, you guys aren't up there where you are in terms of just, you don't get lucky to be where you are, and you're there on merit. We've got to really be at it to make sure our run continues.
Where do you think the game's going to be won and lost then? Where do you think you're strongest, and where do you think you've probably got to be a bit more on it?
A lot of it's going to depend how we start the game. I mean, I think if we start strong, if we start on the front foot, if we get our football going early on, I think we're a tough proposition, especially at home, for anyone at this level. So I think it just depends on how the game starts. If it starts and if the pattern emerges quite quickly, then I think, we could step on the gas at any time and, score an early goal like we did last weekend, and it just makes it very difficult for you guys. But obviously the longer it goes on with it 0-0, I mean, depending on how you guys start, if you start fast as well, then we could have an interesting game on our hands. I certainly think it will be one that won't want to be missed, that's for sure.
And you get big crowds at your place as well, so I mean, I imagine, because I've not been there yet, but it's going to be quite intimidating for the players and so on.
Yeah, well, we're hopeful with better weather that we can maybe get around the 1,000 mark, which is kind of where we want to be at. I mean, we had 818 in for Herne Bay last week, but that was with the shocking weather, and it was still the highest non-league crowd in Kent. So, but I mean, our crowds, it all comes from the amazing community work that's being done with the club. I mean, we've got over 950 youth team players, male boys and girls.
Wow.
Playing within the setup, and it just helps create a community feel on match days. I mean, kids get in for free on match days as well.
Yeah, basically, you've forced all that 950 to come.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's part of it. It's certainly part of it. I mean, it gets.
You will come to watch the game. It's in your sub money.
But no, it gets the interest in the local community, which is what we're all about. I mean, obviously, we got some local players in the team, and it all sort of dovetails together quite nicely in the end to create the community atmosphere that we have.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
So
and the thing is as well, and sorry, there. I think that's where it's so important because when you look at grassroots altogether, without naming names and without naming certain teams or anything like that, but unless you've got someone who's got a bit of a wad of money who ain't too upset in losing a little bit here and there, you've got to rely on the community.
Oh, 100%. And that's we're quite used to a lot of people around the league just sort of saying, "Oh, Ramsgate money bags, etc., etc." But it's nothing like that at all. We're a self-sustaining club. I mean, I know that certain other teams close to us in the table, mentioning no names, cough, Sittingbourne, cough, their fans quite enjoy calling us money bags and those sorts of things. But we'll keep enjoying reading their statistic posts on their social media whilst still being third in the league. So hopefully it remains that way.
And up next on the show is the Sittingbourne fan. Welcome to Nubja.
Bring it on.
So just to kind of wrap this up a little bit and let you get on your way. Talking about what a wonderful community you got down there. It is a long old trip for us. So do you have any tips for the travelling fans? Any decent pubs? What's the food like? How can you park? All the things that match going fans are going to worry about on the trip down there, because it is 70 odd miles for us.
So there's a few nice pubs around here. I always recommend the St. Lawrence Tavern. Know the people that run it very well. It's a nice pub that will be showing the early kickoffs as well. We got drinking facilities up at the ground. We've got a clubhouse. We've got a bar near the corner flag, which is named after one of our supporters, Kevin Stupples, who sadly passed away this summer very suddenly. In terms of travel tips, in terms of getting here, we're probably about a 10-minute walk from the station, so not too far.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to it, really. I mean, I hope you get a clear run if you're going on the roads. If you're going on the train, it's just straight down to Ramsgate and then not far from there. And there's a few pubs on the way, and obviously got everything you need at the ground as well. So one thing I would recommend if you're hungry is a double bacon cheeseburger from the kiosk, because they are enormous and good.
Excellent. Exactly the sort of thing that I want to know about.
I've got anything for the vegans.
I'm sure there's something, but if there is, I don't know about it.
Yeah, the bun with the bun of the burger.
The bun that it came in, probably. Yeah.
Some of them,
and the lettuce.
Darius.
You can have a nice lettuce bun.
Yeah, lettuce bun.
I'm pretty sure there is vegan alternatives, but what they are, I'm not 100% sure, if I'm honest.
Okay, so Darius, give us a prediction for tomorrow. Or for Saturday, rather.
Oh, now you're asking. I don't usually tend to give predictions because I don't like to put the kiss of death on anyone. But seeing as I've already potentially put the kiss of death on Joe Taylor, I'll make an exception. I think it'll be a pretty close game. I think we score early. I think you guys come back into it. I think we get another one after half time. You pull one back.
Oh, you've really thought about it.
And then we potentially get another late on to win it 3-1 in a game that's closer than the scoreline that would suggest.
Right then. And
there's me and Rob. There's me and Rob going 1-1. No summary of the game.
Yeah.
No, it should be a good game, whatever happens.
1-1. Joe Taylor scores in both ends.
Nice one.
I've seen him score a lot of goals in our end, never one in the other end. So if that does happen, I'll be coming to find you straight away.
Yeah, there we are. He's on a bribe.
Yeah. All right, then, Darius, it's been lovely to chat to you. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Enjoy the game. Hopefully, see you there on Saturday.
Yeah, will do. I'll be here. I'll look out for you guys. Come see me in the clubhouse before the game, and I'll buy you both a drink.
Nice one.
Oh, lovely stuff. Thank you, Darius.
Cheers, Darius.
Cheers, chaps.
Yeah, mate. Take care, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
So that was Darius talking about Ramsgate, what's going on there, and how he thinks it's going to go tomorrow. He's obviously very confident. So
I was going to say confident boy, isn't it?
It is, and he's trying. He was trying to play it down, but you can tell that he thinks that they're going to win. So
the car windows were steaming up, weren't they?
Yeah, and with obvious reasons, because you'd look at the two and you'd kind of go, you look at where Ramsgate are, and you've got to say they got to fancy themselves, not just to win tomorrow, but to go up. So
Yeah.
so how do you think it's going to go? What do you think? Do you think we're going to go the standard 4-3-3? Do you think we'll try something different?
It's so tough, because again, like we said at the beginning of the show, about anyone can nick that or goal, and I include Erith in that because even the defeats we've had, the Margate game should have won, or at least got something from. The Sheppey game away should have got something from. And I do genuinely believe that Erith Town are one of those teams that on their day they can give you a good go. Like I said to Darius, they can give you a good go, and they're one of these teams. It's so weird to describe it, that if you're one of these casual football fans, you might go, "Oh, blimey, Erith Town beat Ramsgate," as an example. But if you're an Erith Town fan, you go, "Do you know what? I wouldn't put it past us to get something down there."
No, I think you're right. I think like you say, we can give anyone a game on our day, and it's just a question of it comes down at the end of the day to that game management and that fitness and staying switched on for the full 95, 96, however many minutes it turns out to be. So
yeah, and so do you know what? I'm gonna be diplomatic in the sense. I think it will be a positive 9-0 to Erith. No, I won't.
I love to hear that kind of positivity.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to go for, and this isn't an optimistic in a negative way. This is an optimistic way in the sense that we're playing against a team who've won 15 out of 16 and drew 1. I'm going to go for a cheeky little 1-1. I think that defensively, Erith are very tight. Since JJ's come back, obviously as well. We've got Ross Craig at the back sometimes, and sometimes he sits in front of the midfield. Leo Mazzone. Hayden Buller's protecting as well. Callum McGinn, if he's in the squad, is another top player. Tom Ash, who's a massive fan of the pod, and we're a fan of him. There's another one there. I don't think there'll be many goals. I think it'll be very tight, 1-1.
Yep, I'm going to go with you on that. I think 1-1. I think if we can keep it tight at the back, and I think we've got the stamina and the fitness to keep going. I can't see any reason why we can't at least nick one. So whilst I'd like to be optimistic and go for a 2-1 to us, I think a draw will probably be the result in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you down there on Saturday then, Robert?
It's looking like it. I might get a train. It's only supposed to be 10-minute walk from the station to the ground, and it's 70 odd miles each way. Is a long old way to drive.
Well, I was going to say, Darius said there's about 95 pubs in the area because he stuttered a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
When he mentioned what pubs are going, he might be thinking about which ones he's barred from. You never know. But I'm going down there. I'm promised a burger and a pint, so I'm there.
Excellent.
Might extend that to chips as well if I'm being cheeky.
Yeah, why not? All right then. Well, looking forward to the game tomorrow, and we'll be podding as normal for that game, and then that'll be out, sometime in the week. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everyone. I just hope you enjoyed this little preview show. And
like we said earlier, sorry, just cut in there. Do let us know what you think of the preview show. Send us an email, info@erithtown.com, and remember your made-up words that you want us to get in. Keep them clean, please. Don't go, "Oh my God, have you seen that size of his so-and-so on his backside?"
It's a perfectly cromulent word.
Cromulent. There we are. Well, from him, Robert.
Yep. Up the Dockers.
And from up the Dockers, and from me, Michael. All the best. Up the Dockers, and in Woody we trust.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.